ghouls.
Stinks of carrion. Necrophages.
A fair few. Back in. Kind of like with the plumage, like we force the peacocks to, you know, puff up their tails. We forcing the ghouls to pull theirs in.
Reeks in here.
I got a note, but it didn't seem to pop up as readable. Ah, it's junk to be dismantled or sold.
Reeks in here.
Let's not fall down there yet. Might do so in a moment, but for now I want to get over here. Okay, that was nothing. There we go. Got turned about. And now we can leave. Come on, Geralt. Seriously? Okay, there's nowhere to go this way. I'm actually somewhat off the map. Clearly meant to get up that way. I do not like the swimming controls. He does not like to get out of the water.
And is the storehouse safe? If I were to put up my wife as surety. Well, have you seen to my storehouse?
Storehouse was full of rotten meat. Attracted ghouls I had to get rid of.
Saint Lemioda's calloused heels. But is it safe now? Completely?
Mm-hmm. Though I'd advise you to clean the meat out quick, before other ghouls show up.
Of course. Yes, I shall put my men to it, tout suite.
And imagine that the same would hold true for the ghouls that Grow put down.
Perhaps you need something? I've a meager stock just now, but come back in 2 days to see a full array. At a discount that will make you cross-eyed.
Was wondering, previous owners, what did they use the warehouse for? Why was it full of carrion?
It was Gottfried Nork's before it was mine. Yes, that Nork. Toussaint's most famed charcutier. That is, until his saucisse à la moutarde poisoned half the court of her illustrious highness the Duchessa.
Take it he fell out of favor.
Favor's not the word. He was cast in prison. All his property confiscated and auctioned off.
Damn. Well, I
So
guess
long.
they take attempts in the royal court pretty seriously, unsurprisingly.
Use a nap.
Come on, Roach.
Size. The body that was there is cleaned up now. The
The Dutch is small, but do you know any who's not heard of our wines?
body of the Ark thing is cleaned up. Ooh, there's something new. List marked with the seal of Rivecalme. Bogdan, you must take unusual precautions. We still do not know where these giant parasites are coming from. So put out additional guards. Burn torches day and night and never let the fires go out. Those wild plants are vulnerable to fire. Remember, our forest herbarium is vital. Let the flavorings be secure for us. We'll never manage to finish producing the spiced wine in which you've placed so much hope. I know men are afraid and don't wish to work. So instead of the stick, which I heard you are overly fond of using, announce I'm raising their wages by 2 crowns. That furthermore they can report to the kitchen at weekend for pan à pâté. Rivecalme. I got azurite?
That's just your job, isn't it?
Oh, fuck you too. See, there's ungrateful louts everywhere. Journal from a journey around the world. First day of the expedition. I, Conrad of Velt, shall do the impossible. In 80 days, I shall traverse the entire continent. From Carvista to Lan Exeter. I shall spit upon danger and hold in the highest contempt all the small-minded folk who predict catastrophe and failure. I shall prove to my adversaries that betting against me was the great mistake of their lives, a mistake for which they shall pay dearly, and enough guardian forwards. 6 days of the expedition. I'm soon Beauclair. To keep to my pre-established plan, I should pass the city by altogether, for more than 2 days behind, but blast it all, my rear's about to fall off from bouncing on that infernal wagon bench. I've reached my limit of hardtack and dried pork, for a bit of luxury, so it's time to visit the famed pheasantry. I've made some new friends in the pheasantry, kindred lovers of adventure. They caught on at once to the idea behind my expedition and decided to join me. Tomorrow we embark together. Yet Zuzan, one of my new companions, suggests we leave the city at once and pitch a camp outside Beauclair. There we shall be able to conduct a thorough inspection of my supplies and prepare for the journey onward. 8th day of the expedition, evening. We've made our provisionary bivouac. Everything has been examined, my funds counted to the last copper. Zuzan loaded everything onto a wagon and prepared the horses. I now sit by the fire, drinking Estes and enjoying an evening of relaxation. Life is beautiful. And he got taken for a ride. Always 5th essence. You never hear of first through 4th. This report. As per your orders, Filbert, we joined Conrad Velt's expedition. Truly denseful, that one. Set out from Crevesta, meaning to reach Lan Exeter on his own. Best part is, he wasn't going to do any trading on the way. Said he made best with some pals so he could reach his goal in less than 80 days. His wagon was chock full of supplies, along with an altogether weighty trunk of Guardian Foreigns attached to the coach box. We drank and ate all night at pheasantry on his coin. I still got a heartburn. Didn't hesitate a moment before agreeing to let us join him on his journey. Our suggestion to pitch camp outside the city didn't raise the slightest suspicion. They finished the job without even getting our hands dirty, but alas, Zuzan swung the hammer a bit too weakly, scolding Crack at once. Even though the Cretan was drunk as a lord, he howled bloody murder and spooked the horses. To make things worse, they were already harnessed, so he dragged the wagon straight into the lake. We're eager to get the blazes out of here as quick as possible, because of this place is crawling with those bleeding knights errant and ducal guardsmen. But as if out of spite, wagons got stuck in the mud. A large ink blot renders the rest of the report illegible. Around the world in 8 days. Whoa. Very nice. Okay, that one's done. On to the next one. Arctic spores. Horse. Really? Don't try and punch it. Take out sword. Stab with sword. Well, more slash. This didn't burn. Normally they do.
Ground splattered with blood for a few feet around. A lot of it.
Ah, that gets brightly coated in it. What's this? Beware the White Tower, danger zone, do not enter. Isn't danger zone a song? Any losses of life property will be compensated by Count Boris de Salazar.
Says Great White Terror on the contract. Could be the same damn beast as in the notice, though. Dead. Just dead. Blow itself didn't kill him. Bled to death afterwards.
Orders are now stationary.
What have we got here? No chance this letter wound up here by accident.
Fail me this time and I'll skin that blotchy hide off your rump. Pick up the next batch of seedlings tomorrow from the Teshama Mutna. From the Tesham Mutna hatchery. Mutna? We need to infest another spot at Cornetta, but don't be late, because the team from the vineyard on the other side of the rivers got the key. V.
Interesting. This note plus what I found earlier. Some third parties causing problems at the vineyards. Need to find the spot the letter mentions. Then I'll find something mighty interesting behind whatever door this key opens.
The Deus in the Machina? It's Deus Ex Machina. I remember learning about the origin of that phrase before. It ties back into ancient Greek plays. Apparently, I can't remember where I got the explanation from it. For it, like how valid, how accurate it is. Like I remember, like I had a book, like a book for boys with like first aid advice, some stories, words of Latin, and different things in it. It could have come from that, or it could have been from fucking TV tropes. I have no idea. It might have actually been the latter, but it was like basically in the ancient Greek plays, like at the end, Zeus would be, like a statue of Zeus or whatever. We like, brought, weave it onto the stage, and it was just solve everyone's problems, and that'll be the end of it, and everyone will go home. Just God-man shifts his weight slightly and solves everything. But I can't remember the actual origin to that explanation. It's just something that's stuck with me, but I can't remember anything about it. So, it's advisable to look it up yourself. It's obviously Greek. Well, the phrasing is Greek, but I suppose doesn't necessarily mean it's of Greek origin. Plenty of new ailments nowadays are given like Latin names and stuff. Doesn't mean it's Roman. So, yeah, I have no idea. Here, you know, I'm gonna look it up right now. Deus Ex Machina. It does mean God from the machine. Origin of it. It was actually kind of right. It wasn't a statue, it was actors playing the gods who were brought on stage using a machine. I'm just reading off Wikipedia here. The term was coined from the conventions of ancient Greek theatre, where actors who were playing gods were brought onto the stage using a machine. One second. I just can't fucking talk. I'm really worried about getting tongue-tied here. Oh, well, no, I'm not worried. I'm paranoid about phrasing things wrong here. I'm just really off. And it's fucking killing me. But basically, to sum up the Deus Ex Machina a bit, as I've closed the browser now, I moved on from it. Basically, actors were lured in or via one machine, or raised up through a trapdoor by another. And this particular guy introduced it, whose name I can't pronounce, and to resolve problems and to bring an end to the drama. And they were frequently used in Greek tragedies, though they were often found places in comedies. And then I brought up a fun fact. I remember learning at one stage, comedies back in yesteryear didn't mean like Mrs. Doubtfire or what have you, of plenty of humour and jokes and whatnot. Miss Doubtfire is the first one I could think of, and only one that keeps coming to mind. Back in yesteryear, it meant it had a happy ending. Like Dante's Inferno is referred to as a divine comedy, or maybe that's the umbrella name because there are three of them: one through hell, one through purgatory, one through heaven. I can't remember what it was, but I read about this like years ago. Regardless, it's called Divine Comedy because it has a happy ending. Guy reaches heaven. You know, yes, he goes through literal hell, but it's fine. Heaven, you know. And then I was bringing up a point that it's interesting seeing the changes over the years. Like, in yesteryear, comedy meant happy ending. Nowadays, it means, there's humor throughout it. It's a more jokey affair, potentially anyway. Obviously, not all comedies are the same, but they have the running theme of humor and whatnot to them. And then I was also making a point, something I've been talking about before, like in my Legion playthrough, of wow. If I remember saying Legion, I mean wow. I have a small bit of footage for Path of Exile Legion. I'll probably never be referring to that. I barely played it. I'm too burnt out on Path of Exile because of my Betrayal playthrough. But anyway, something that was of interest was the I remember got the Malleus Maleficarum, and the guy had been talking about it before, which is what taught me about it. That like I didn't know it existed previously, and he was saying, rightfully or wrongfully, I never looked into it enough to check if it was true, but he was claiming that the book, when it talked about like why more women than men were witches, and it's not, as a side point to this, women weren't the only ones executed for being witches. Men were executed as well. It's often seen as a woman's only affair, but much like acid attacks or rape, and that's not the case. It happens to men as well. I certainly don't have the numbers to hand, and to one degree or another, it's probably hard to get the accurate figures on it anyway, especially on the latter account. But, it's not an exclusively one-sex thing, as much as common wisdom would say otherwise. But that's a tangent for another day. It's just simply a point I want to make. And that's caused me to lose my train of thought again, which I do believe happened previously. In my previous attempt at saying this. Oh yeah, I was saying about witches, and it wasn't only women killed, men were killed as well, much like, and which is the same is true in these other two cases. Oh yes, more women than men were witches because of women's carnal nature. That basically, women are horn dogs, but men can, and basically, Satan turns up the party. Women will accept his advances, while men will reject them. And the reason I bring this up now is much like comedy has changed from simply a happy ending to, there's humor throughout it, and it's a very different beast than yesteryear's comedies. In yesteryear, men of, more reserved nature, women horn dogs. Now it's men are the horn dogs and women of the more reserved nature. And I was referencing this to a few guys I knew, and they were like, it was really jarring to them because they're like, oh, it's obviously men are the horn dogs. Like the idea of yesteryear was just completely foreign to them. And it's interesting to see this how how like literary stuff is used changes over time, how society as a whole changes. Their views on different things, how they like basically their views on people. I find that kind of flip flop interesting. I also find comedies going from a simply happy ending, even if the guy literally trekked through hell, to now I've forgotten the name of the movie. Mrs. Doubtfire. Trekked. How comedies have changed from Dante's Inferno to Mrs. Doubtfire. None against Mrs. Doubtfire, by the way. I like that movie. Just it's the only one I can think of. It's interesting to see that evolution, and it's similarly interesting the evolution of on the societal aspects, especially given the fact that I've referenced that to people, and it's such a conflict for them. So yeah, that's all I'm trying to say. It's just interesting to see how the evolution of society's views and even how it uses things in a literary sense, how that evolves over time. It's interesting to me. Never fear, Skelger's here. So, yeah, I find that interesting. So, yeah. From the start, both Matilda and Liam insisted the problems at the vineyards had not appeared out of thin air. Naturally, they accused one another of foul play. Geralt suspected there was more to the matter, and yet again his intuition proved true. While solving problems at the vineyards, he happened on some notes. These suggested someone had intentionally planted dark explorers amidst the vines at both estates. The Witcher had also found the key to the cellar where the saplings of the beastly plants had been stored. Huh. It's all the way down there? For a track. Well, I'm gonna finish up here at the estate. Great mornings. Not too surprising, but still ever annoying. At least they can't kill Roach. Suppose it's in the name. If a nuke can't kill off roaches, what chances some overgrown weeds have? Okay, I'm
The
gonna.
spores will sprout again. Should destroy the area if I want to get rid of them for good.
Okay, I'm gonna stop here for a sec.